Flirting over text is not about writing essays, long speeches, or trying to sound like a poet who is desperately searching for the right words to win her over. At its very core, flirting is about energy. It's about sending messages that carry the kind of vibe that makes her smile, giggle, or feel a spark of excitement when she sees your name pop up on her phone. Playful energy is the foundation of attraction because it sets the stage for everything else. Without playfulness, your texts risk coming across as dull, predictable, or even needy, and nothing kills attraction faster than a conversation that feels like a chore. The beauty of playfulness is that it creates curiosity. It makes her wonder what you're going to say next. Think about it. When someone texts you and it feels like they're trying too hard to be serious, you might respect their effort, but you don't necessarily feel drawn in. On the other hand, when their messages have a spark, a light-hearted touch that makes you laugh or feel good, your attention is instantly captured. That's the difference playful energy makes. It's not just about what you say, but how you make her feel. And people remember how you make them feel more than they remember the exact words you used. One of the simplest ways to inject playfulness into your texts is through teasing. Teasing isn't about being mean or disrespectful, but rather about playfully challenging her in a way that feels fun. For example, if she says she's the best cook in the world, instead of replying with a boring, "That's great," you could say, "Oh, really? Should I prepare the fire extinguisher before I taste this world-class cooking?" That kind of response is light, cheeky, and shows that you're not just there to agree with everything she says, but also to engage her in a fun back and forth. Another aspect of playful energy is keeping things unexpected. If every single text is predictable, she knows exactly what you're going to say before you say it. That removes the mystery and makes the interaction flat. But when your energy is playful, you keep her guessing. You could send a message in the middle of her day that says something like, "I just passed by a coffee shop that smelled so good it almost convinced me to forgive you for stealing my fries that one time." It's random, light, and brings back a memory or inside joke. Suddenly, she's not just receiving another dry message, she's receiving a message that feels personal and entertaining. Playful energy also means not being afraid to exaggerate in a humorous way. If she tells you she finally finished a project, you could reply with something like, "Whoa, I should alert the news channels. This is breaking news." National celebration level. You're making her achievement feel fun and dramatic in a way that makes her laugh and feel celebrated without it being too heavy. This exaggeration is a powerful flirting tool because it magnifies simple conversations into moments that feel exciting. Flirting through playfulness also involves understanding when to hold back. It's not about overloading her with constant jokes or sarcasm to the point where the conversation loses any depth. Balance is key. There are moments to be silly and light, and there are moments to be genuine. But the playful undertone should always be there because it creates a consistent vibe of positivity. It makes you stand out as someone she associates with good feelings. Energy is contagious, and when you carry a playful energy into your texting, she feels it. If your tone is flat, she'll mirror that flatness. But if you're fun, creative, and full of life, she'll match that energy. This doesn't mean you have to be a comedian. It simply means showing up in a way that doesn't take everything too seriously. When she feels that spark from your texts, she naturally wants more of it, and that desire for more is what builds attraction. Playfulness also creates comfort. Many people underestimate how important comfort is in flirting. If your texts feel too heavy, too intense, or too serious early on, it can make her put up her guard. But when your energy is playful, it lowers defenses. She feels like she can be herself, laugh, and engage without worrying about judgment. This comfort paired with attraction is what makes the connection strong. So when you think about flirting over text, don't think about lines you have to memorize or strategies you must follow step by step. Think about the energy you're bringing into the conversation. Are you making her smile? Are you making her look forward to your messages? Are you keeping her curious about what you'll say next? If the answer is yes, then you are successfully building attraction through playful energy. Flirting over text is not just about what you say, but also about when you say it. Timing plays a powerful role in how your messages are received and how much excitement they generate. Many people think the goal of texting is to reply as quickly as possible to prove interest. But the truth is that constant availability can actually reduce the sense of attraction. When you always reply instantly, she knows that no matter when she texts, you'll always be there waiting. While it may seem thoughtful, it removes the mystery, the anticipation, and the thrill of wondering what's coming next. The art of timing allows you to build curiosity, and curiosity is one of the strongest forces in flirting. Mystery is not about being manipulative or playing hard to get in a cold way, but about creating enough space for her to wonder about you. When your replies come with rhythm, sometimes fast, sometimes with a pause, it creates an unpredictable flow. It keeps the conversation alive because she doesn't know exactly when you'll reply, and that element of surprise keeps her engaged. Think of it like watching a good movie. If you always know exactly what's about to happen, you lose interest quickly. But when the storyline keeps you guessing, you stay hooked. The same principle applies to texting. For example, let's say you're having a fun back and forth conversation. Instead of dragging it on until it dies naturally, you can end it on a high note. You might make a playful joke, drop a teasing comment, and then step away. By doing that, you leave her with something to think about, and she's more likely to replay that moment in her head. Timing in this sense isn't just about responding, it's also about knowing when to pause. That pause allows the energy to build, and when you return, it feels refreshing and exciting again. Another aspect of timing is understanding her rhythm as well. If she's at work or school, sending a flood of messages may feel overwhelming and distracting. But if you time your messages when she's more relaxed, she can fully engage in the conversation. When you notice her patterns and align your timing with moments when she's likely to be more open, your texts feel more thoughtful and intentional. This doesn't mean tracking her every move, but simply being aware of when she responds with more energy versus when she seems occupied. Mystery also works in the kind of messages you send. If every text is predictable, how are you? What are you doing? She knows what's coming next, and there's nothing exciting about that. But if your texts drop little hints, intriguing statements, or playful challenges, she's left curious. You might send a text that says, "I just thought of something hilarious about you, but I'm not sure if I should tell you yet." Immediately, her curiosity is sparked and she'll want to know what it is. You haven't revealed everything, and by holding back, you've created a small mystery that keeps her engaged. Timing and mystery also work hand in hand when it comes to building emotional connection. If you always respond too quickly with full explanations or constantly over text, it gives the impression that you're trying to fill silence out of fear. But when you're comfortable with pauses, you show confidence. You're not desperate for attention. You're allowing space for the interaction to breathe. This confidence paired with unpredictability makes you stand out. It signals that you have a life outside of your phone, and that you're bringing her into your world rather than making her the sole center of it. Another powerful way to use timing is through delayed responses that carry intention. For example, if she shares something exciting, you don't always need to respond immediately with a standard "that's cool." You could wait a little, then come back with a thoughtful or playful response that adds value. That delay gives the impression that you took the time to think, and when you finally reply, your message feels more impactful. It's not about ignoring her, but about giving weight to your replies so they stand out from the casual messages she might receive from others. Mystery also lies in not over-explaining yourself. If she asks what you're up to, instead of giving a detailed, dry account, you could be more playful and vague. Saying something like, "currently up to something top secret," might reveal it later if you're lucky, adds curiosity. It's not a lie, it's not misleading. It's just playful and mysterious. It invites her to engage without giving her all the answers right away. That sense of wondering keeps the conversation dynamic. The key is balance. Too much mystery, and she may feel like you're hiding something or being distant. Too little, and the conversation feels flat and predictable. The art lies in weaving timing and mystery together so the conversation feels like a dance. Sometimes close, sometimes with a step back, but always moving in rhythm. This dance creates attraction because it makes her look forward to the next move. It keeps her engaged, intrigued, and curious about what you'll say or do next. When you master the art of timing and mystery, you make texting feel less like a chore and more like an experience. It's not about being glued to your phone or being overly available, but about pacing your interactions so they feel exciting and fresh. It's about giving just enough to spark interest, while holding back enough to keep her wanting more. This is what transforms ordinary texts into flirtatious exchanges that build attraction and leave a lasting impression. Flirting over text is often misunderstood as simply throwing around compliments, but the truth is that not all compliments carry the same weight. A generic "you're beautiful" or "you look nice" may sound sweet, but they're also words she's likely heard 100 times before. What truly makes an impression is when your compliments feel personal, when they highlight something unique about her that not everyone else sees. Personal compliments stand out because they feel intentional. They show her that you're paying attention, that you notice the little details others might miss, and that you're not just using overused lines to try to win her over. When you take the time to observe and craft compliments that are specific to her, you make her feel seen and valued. For example, instead of saying, "You're pretty," you could say, "There's something about the way you smile. It's like it sneaks up on you and suddenly makes the whole moment better." That type of compliment isn't something she hears every day because it's tailored to her. It's more than just her appearance, it's about the impact she has. This kind of message lingers in her mind and sets you apart from the crowd. Personal compliments also work because they touch deeper than surface level attraction. Yes, she may like to hear that she looks good, but when you compliment her character, her passion, or the way she makes you feel, it carries a stronger emotional weight. Telling her something like, "I love how excited you get when you talk about your goals. It's actually contagious," makes her feel appreciated for who she is, not just how she looks. That balance between light playfulness and genuine appreciation is at the heart of flirting. It keeps the conversation fun while also showing that you're paying attention to more than just appearances. Another important part of giving personal compliments over text is delivery. The way you phrase your words can turn an ordinary comment into something flirty and memorable. Adding a touch of humor or exaggeration can make the compliment playful rather than too heavy. If she tells you she just cooked dinner, instead of simply saying, "That's impressive," you could say, So you're telling me you can cook and still look amazing doing it." That's unfair to the rest of us. It's a compliment wrapped in a lighthearted tone that keeps the flirting energy alive. The key here is effort. Generic compliments require no thought. Anyone could send them. Personal compliments require you to pay attention, notice details, and connect them to how you feel. And because they require more effort, they feel more sincere. Even something small, like complimenting her sense of humor by saying, "You seriously have the ability to make me laugh at the most random things," goes further than a simple, "You're funny." It shows that you recognize the unique effect she has on you, which makes the compliment land in a deeper way. Personal compliments also make her feel special because they're not something you could easily copy and paste to someone else. When you point out the way she phrases her words, the way she talks about her favorite hobby, or the way she lights up when she's passionate about something, she knows that those words are meant only for her. That exclusivity creates intimacy. It makes her feel like you're seeing parts of her that others don't pay attention to. And that kind of recognition is incredibly attractive. It's also important to balance compliments with playfulness so they don't come across as overwhelming. Too many heavy compliments back can make the conversation feel intense rather than fun. Flirting thrives when you mix light teasing with thoughtful compliments. For instance, if she says she spent all day working on something, you might tease her by saying, "Wow, look at you being all responsible. I didn't think you had it in you." Then follow it up with, "But honestly, that dedication is impressive. I like that about you." The teasing keeps the tone playful, and the compliment seals it with sincerity. Another way to make compliments personal is by connecting them to shared experiences. If you both had a conversation about a topic in the past, bringing it back as a compliment makes her feel remembered. For example, if she mentions she loves books, and later you say, "The way you light up when you talk about stories makes me want to start reading again," you're not only complimenting her, but also tying it to a shared connection. That makes the compliment more meaningful because it's rooted in your interactions with her. Flirting through personal compliments isn't about overthinking every word, but about being genuine in what you notice and how you express it. The more specific you are, the more impact your words will have. She won't just see your message as another empty line, but as a reflection of how you truly see her. And when your compliments make her smile because they feel personal, they do more than flatter. They create a sense of closeness and attraction that makes her look forward to the next conversation. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to flirting over text is that words on a screen don't always carry the same weight as words spoken out loud. In person, your tone of voice, your smile, your gestures, and your body language add depth and clarity to your words. But over text, all of that disappears, and what you're left with are plain words that can sometimes feel flat, misinterpreted, or even boring. This is where emojis come in. When used thoughtfully, emojis add color, personality, and emotional tone to your messages. They act as little signals that help her understand the mood behind your words and give life to what might otherwise be simple text. Emojis are like the seasoning of texting. Without them, the conversation might still taste okay, But with the right sprinkle here and there, it becomes more flavorful. Imagine sending a playful tease without any emoji. It might come across as too blunt or even a little harsh. But add a wink, a smirk, or a tongue-out emoji, and suddenly she knows you're joking, and the message feels lighthearted and fun. Emojis create clarity, ensuring your playfulness doesn't get lost in translation. When it comes to flirting, the right emoji at the right time can completely shift the tone of a conversation. For example, if she says something cheeky, instead of replying with just words, you might add the fire emoji, the heart eyes emoji, or even the side eye emoji to match her vibe. These little icons do what text alone sometimes can't. They visually represent the energy you're trying to send across. They make your messages more expressive, and that expressiveness is what keeps flirting alive in a digital space. But beyond clarity, emojis also add personality. They give her a glimpse into your playful side and make the interaction feel less robotic. A simple message like, "Your trouble?" can sound serious or even accusatory if it stands alone. But say, "Your trouble," and suddenly it becomes flirty, fun, out, and charged with energy. The emojis soften the words, adding charm and mischief. They show her you're not taking yourself too seriously, and that sense of lightness is magnetic. The power of emojis also lies in timing. You don't need to overload every text with them because that can feel childish or forced. The real magic is in sprinkling them in where they amplify your words. A teasing comment, a playful compliment, or a cheeky challenge are perfect places to drop one or two emojis that elevate the message. Think of them as punctuation marks that carry emotion. Just as a period ends a sentence, a smirk emoji might complete the feeling behind a flirtatious text. Another key part of using emojis is knowing how to match them with her energy. If she's sending lots of laughing emojis, it's a signal that she's in a playful mood, so you can mirror that energy and keep the vibe going. If she uses a wink or a smirk, it's her way of adding a flirty undertone, and you can respond in kind to build on that momentum. Mirroring doesn't mean copying everything she does, but rather recognizing her tone and playing along. This creates a rhythm that feels natural and fun, almost like a dance in text form. Tone, when paired with emojis, is also about balancing subtlety and boldness. Sometimes the most flirtatious texts are the ones that say a lot without spelling everything out. A simple, "I might have to tell you later," leaves space for her imagination to run wild. And the wink adds just enough flavor to make it playful instead of plain. You don't have to spell out every thought when a single emoji can carry the meaning and leave her intrigued. This subtlety keeps her guessing and makes the interaction exciting. What's even more powerful is that emojis can be used to create inside jokes and shared language between the two of you. Maybe there's one emoji you both find funny, or one that becomes your go-to when teasing each other. Over time, that shared use of emojis builds a kind of private connection that feels intimate and unique. Every time she sees that emoji, she'll think of you, and that association deepens your bond. Emojis also help to soften vulnerability in flirting. Compliments or bold statements might sometimes feel too forward if they're delivered flatly in text. But adding an emoji can make them feel warmer and more approachable. For instance, saying, "You always look good," might feel heavy, but saying, "You always look good," makes it light, dreamy, and flattering without the weight. That little adjustment changes how she receives the message, making her more likely to respond with excitement instead of feeling pressured. At the heart of it, emojis and tone work together to create an atmosphere. They make texting feel less like exchanging information and more like a lively, playful conversation. They transform plain words into flirtatious banter that carries emotion, mischief, and fun. When you use them with intention, not too much, not too little, you're able to express your charm in a way that feels natural, personal, and engaging. And in the world of flirting over text, that ability to bring life into your words is what makes the connection unforgettable. The best way to truly understand how to flirt over text is to look at examples, because while the principles of playfulness, timing, mystery, and personal compliments sound good in theory, it's the actual application that makes them come alive. Flirting is not about memorizing scripted lines, but about using inspiration to create messages that feel natural, light, and tailored to the person you're texting. Examples give you a starting point, but the real magic comes when you adapt them to your personality and the vibe you share with her. Take, for instance, a playful tease. Instead of sending a boring message like, "What are you up to?" you could say, "So, are you being productive or just pretending to look busy while scrolling on your phone?" This works because it asks the same question in a fun way, while also playfully calling her out. It's lighthearted, it makes her laugh, and it opens the door for her to respond with something cheeky. That's what flirting is about, It's not just asking questions, it's asking in a way that entertains her and makes her want to keep talking. Another example is how you compliment her. Rather than saying, "You look nice in that picture," you could say, "You look like you're about to break some hearts in that outfit." This doesn't just point out her looks, it frames her in a way that's playful and flirtatious. It's a compliment that carries energy. Or, if you want to go deeper, you might say, "I don't know how you manage to look good even when you're not trying. It's unfair." Again, the idea is to avoid sounding robotic or cliché and instead deliver something that feels personal and fun. You can also use timing to make your text more engaging. For example, if she tells you she's cooking dinner, instead of replying instantly with, "That's nice," you might wait a little and then send, "Okay, I've been thinking if you don't at least save me a plate, I might have to reconsider this friendship." The slight delay followed by a playful exaggeration makes the text more impactful than a rushed, generic response. It shows you're playful while keeping her curious about how you'll respond next. Flirty texts also work well when they're wrapped in mystery. Instead of laying everything out, give her something to wonder about. You might text, "I just thought of something funny about you, but I'm not sure if you're ready to hear it yet." This kind of message creates intrigue because she'll want to know what you're holding back. Or you could say, "If I told you what I'm thinking right now, you might blush." That kind of message builds anticipation without giving everything away. It's flirty, mysterious, and draws her deeper into the interaction. Another powerful example is using emojis to bring tone into your messages. If she sends you a playful message, you can amplify it with something as simple as, "Oh wow, your trouble bomb." Without the emojis, the message might feel plain, but with them, it comes alive and carries a cheeky tone. Or when you want to make a compliment feel lighter, you could say, "You really do have the kind of laugh that should be illegal, Bon." Emojis make the difference between a flat message and one that feels alive with personality. You can also use scenarios or imagination to make flirting more fun. Instead of just talking about what's happening, you can create little playful what-if situations. For example, if we were in a competition for who could make the other laugh first, I'd definitely win. Don't test me. This creates a fun, competitive energy that keeps the conversation engaging. Or, if I showed up right now with ice cream, you'd probably forgive me for all the teasing, wouldn't you? These imagined situations make the conversation more dynamic and add layers of playfulness. Inside jokes are another powerful way to flirt. If you both shared a funny moment before, bring it back into the conversation with a playful twist. For example, if she once told you she's bad at directions, you could text, "I hope you're not trying to find your way somewhere right now. Should I send a rescue team?" It's light, personal, and shows you remember things she's told you. That memory combined with humor makes the flirting feel genuine and connected. The point of these examples is not to give you exact lines to copy word for word, but to show the tone and energy that makes flirting effective. Every text should make her feel something, whether it's a smile, a laugh, a moment of curiosity, or a spark of excitement. The examples work because they combine playfulness, personal attention, mystery, and timing into short, engaging messages. They're not heavy or overwhelming. They're simple but effective in sparking attraction. When you apply these types of examples, you'll notice that the conversation becomes more than just an exchange of words. It becomes an experience, one that she looks forward to and wants to keep going. And the more she associates your text with fun, energy, and attraction, the stronger the connection grows.